The phone rang at 2 in the morning, never a good sign. I fumbled for it in the darkness, my heart already racing before I even saw the name on the screen. Emily, my twin sister. We hadn't spoken in months, not since her husband Marcus had convinced her that I was toxic and jealous of their happiness. I answered anyway. "Rachel?" Her voice was barely a whisper, thick with tears and something else, fear. "Em? What's wrong? Can I come over? Please." I didn't know where else to go. 20 minutes later, I opened my apartment door to find a stranger wearing my sister's face. The woman standing in my hallway had the same auburn hair, the same green eyes, the same freckles scattered across her nose. But everything else was wrong. Her left eye was swollen nearly shut, purple and yellow spreading across her cheekbone. Her lip was split, crusted with dried blood. She held her ribs carefully, like breathing hurt. "Oh my God, Emily." She tried to smile and winced. "Hi, Rach." I pulled her inside, my hands shaking with rage. Who did this? Was it Marcus? She didn't answer, which was answer enough. My sister, my fearless, brilliant twin who'd once punched a guy for insulting me in high school, stood in my living room looking broken. 5 years of marriage to Marcus Donovan had done this to her. "Tell me everything," I said, guiding her to the couch, and she did. The story came out slowly, painfully, interrupted by tears and long silences. How Marcus had isolated her from friends and family. How the criticism had turned to control, then to violence. How she'd been too ashamed to tell anyone, too afraid no one would believe her. By the time the sun rose, painting my apartment in shades of gold, I had made a decision. A crazy, dangerous decision that might be the only way to save my sister and destroy the man who'd hurt her. What if we switched places? I said. Emily stared at me like I'd lost my mind, which maybe I had. "What are you talking about?" "Think about it," I said, leaning forward. "We're identical twins. Even Mom couldn't tell us apart until we were 10. If we style our hair the same way, wear the same clothes, practice each other's mannerisms, Marcus won't know the difference." "Rachel, that's insane." "Maybe, but Marcus has all the power right now. He controls your money, your phone, your life. He has friends in high places, lawyers, cops, judges. If you try to leave normally, he'll drag you through court and destroy you. But if I go back there pretending to be you, I can gather real evidence. Proof that even his expensive lawyers can't explain away." Emily shook her head, but I could see her considering it. "He'd know. Somehow he'd figure it out. Not if we're careful. Not if you teach me everything, how you walk, how you talk to him, what your daily routine looks like. I can be you for a few weeks while you stay here and heal. Then we take everything I've gathered and we bury him with it." "What if he hurts you?" I met her eyes. "I can handle Marcus. I'm not broken down like he's made you. I'm not afraid of him, and I'll be ready in ways you couldn't be. I've spent 5 years watching him steal you from me, piece by piece. Let me help you get yourself back." We spent the next week preparing. Emily taught me about Marcus's morning routine, how he liked his coffee at exactly 7 o'clock, 2 sugars, no cream. How he expected breakfast waiting when he came downstairs, scrambled eggs, wheat toast, orange juice. How everything had to be perfect or he'd make her throw it away and start over while he watched and criticized. "He times everything," Emily explained, showing me the routes she drove to the grocery store, the gym, everywhere. If I'm even 5 minutes late, he accuses me of lying about where I've been. He has a tracking app on my phone that shows him my exact location. "What about friends? Do you see anyone?" Emily's face fell. "Not anymore. He made it too difficult. He'd interrogate me about every conversation, accuse me of complaining about him. It was easier to just stop. The isolation was a tool of control. By cutting Emily off from everyone who loved her, Marcus had made himself the center of her entire world, the only source of approval or punishment. We practiced conversations with Emily playing Marcus while I responded as her. She'd throw out sudden accusations, unexpected questions, and I'd have to react the way she would, apologetic, submissive, always trying to appease. "You're standing too straight," Emily said after one session. "You need to make yourself smaller. Keep your eyes down when he's angry. Show him you're not a threat." It went against every instinct I had. I wanted to tell Marcus exactly what I thought of him. But to beat him, I had to play his game first. I had to be the wife he thought he'd broken. I had to be the broken. "There's one more thing," Emily said on the fourth day. "Marcus doesn't know this, but I've been hiding money. Just small amounts cash back from groceries, change I'd find in his pockets. It's not much, maybe $1,500, but I hid it in the house. If you can find it, you'll have proof I was planning to escape." By the seventh day, we were ready. Emily cut her hair to match my shorter style. We practiced one more time, running through every scenario. And then, on a cold Tuesday morning, I put on Emily's wedding ring, looked at my sister's face one more time, and prepared to enter her nightmare. "Be careful," Emily said, hugging me tight. "If anything feels wrong, if you think he's going to hurt you, just leave. None of this is worth you getting hurt." "I'll be fine," I promised. "And in a few weeks, we're going to make him pay for everything." The house looked perfect from the outside, a beautiful colonial in an upscale neighborhood with a manicured lawn and expensive cars in the driveway. No one would ever guess it was a prison. I used Emily's keys to open the front door and stepped inside. Everything was immaculate. White carpet without a single footprint. Magazines on the coffee table arranged at perfect angles. Even the throw pillows were positioned with geometric precision. This wasn't a home where people lived. It was a showroom, carefully designed to project an image of success and happiness. I walked through slowly, getting familiar with the layout. Living room with leather furniture. Dining room with a table that seated 12. Kitchen with top-of-the-line appliances. Everything expensive, everything controlled. The master bedroom was upstairs. I climbed carefully, trailing my hand along the railing the way Emily had shown me. The bedroom was decorated in shades of gray and navy blue. Marcus's suits hung in the walk-in closet, organized by color. Emily's clothes took up maybe a quarter of the space. I checked the time. 10 in the morning. Marcus wouldn't be home until evening at the earliest. That gave me hours to explore, to start looking for evidence. I headed to Marcus's office, the one room Emily had been forbidden to enter. The door was locked, but Emily had told me about a spare key hidden in the master bathroom, taped behind the mirror. I found it exactly where she'd said. The office was impressive. Dark wood desk, leather chair, built-in bookshelves lined with business books. A computer sat on the desk, password protected. Filing cabinets lined one wall, all locked. And there, behind a painting of a sailboat, was a safe. I didn't try the safe yet, I didn't have the combination. Instead, I used the other keys to unlock the filing cabinets. Inside were business contracts, property deeds, financial statements. I photographed everything with Emily's phone, which I'd put in airplane mode so Marcus couldn't track a dot in the bottom drawer. I found something interesting. Bank statements for an account in Marcus's name only. The deposits were irregular, but substantial. 20,000 here, 15,000 there, 10,000 somewhere else. Nothing that matched his regular salary from his law firm. I photographed every page. Unexplained income, possibly unreported to the IRS. If Marcus was hiding money, that was a crime. I continued searching. In his desk drawer, I found a burner phone. Why would Marcus need a second phone unless he was hiding something? I turned it on. The battery was nearly dead, but I could see recent calls and texts. Numbers with no names attached. Messages that were cryptic but suggestive. Package delivered as requested. Payment received. Next shipment ready. This looked like more than shady business deals. This looked criminal. I photographed everything before the battery died completely. Then I returned everything to its exact position, locked the cabinets, and put the keys back in their hiding place. By noon, I'd copied everything useful in the office. I went downstairs to start preparing dinner. Emily had told me Marcus liked pot roast on Tuesdays, so I got everything ready. The roast went into the slow cooker, where it would be perfect by evening. While the food cooked, I explored the rest of the house. I found Emily's hidden cash, tucked inside a box in the back of the bathroom cabinet. I left it where it was, but photographed the location. More evidence of Emily's attempts to escape. I also found a journal hidden between the mattress and box spring on Emily's side of the bed. My sister had been documenting the abuse dates, descriptions, everything Marcus had done to her. Page after page of pain. I read through it all, my rage building with every word. Then I photographed every page before returning it to its hiding place. At 6:30, I heard the front door open. Car keys hitting the table. Footsteps in the hall. "Emily!" Marcus called. "I'm home." My whole body tensed, but I forced myself to relax, to move and breathe the way Emily would. "In the kitchen," I replied, keeping my voice soft. He appeared in the doorway. Marcus Donovan was handsome in a cold way, tall, well-built, perfectly groomed in an expensive suit. His smile was practiced and empty. "Something smells good," he said, moving into the kitchen like he owned everything in it. "Pot roast. It should be ready in about 20 minutes. "Good." He loosened his tie, watching me. "How was your day?" This was a test. Marcus always asked this question, and the answer had to be brief and positive. "It was fine," I said. "I cleaned the house and ran some errands. Nothing exciting." "Did you go anywhere besides the grocery store?" "No, just there and back." He nodded, apparently satisfied. But I knew he'd check the tracking app later to verify. "I'll go change," Marcus said. "Make sure dinner's on the table when I come back." Over the next 2 weeks, I settled into Emily's nightmare. Cook breakfast at exactly 7. Clean the house to Marcus's specifications. Prepare dinner and have it ready whenever he decided to come home. Play the perfect submissive wife, and whenever Marcus was at work. I searched. I went through his office systematically, photographing documents, copying files from his computer after I guessed his password, his birthday plus the year he joined his law firm. I found more suspicious bank statements, more cryptic texts on the burner phone after I charged it, evidence of deals that looked illegal. Marcus wasn't just controlling my sister. He was involved in something criminal, possibly money laundering through his law practice, bribing officials, dealing with people who send messages about shipments and packages. I also found photos on his computer, hidden in a folder with an innocent name. Photos of women who weren't Emily. Women in hotels, in restaurants, in various states of undress. Marcus was cheating while demanding complete loyalty from my sister. I copied everything. Every photo, every document, every piece of evidence. I bought a USB drive with cash Emily had given me and stored everything on it, hiding it with her hidden money. But as I gathered evidence, Marcus was growing suspicious. "You've been acting different," he said one night at dinner. "Distracted. Are you hiding something from me?" "No," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I'm not hiding anything." "You better not be," Marcus said. "You know what happens when you lie to me." Yes, I knew. Emily's journal had documented it in painful detail. I needed to push forward. I'd been gathering evidence for 2 weeks, and I had enough to start building a case. But I needed to do it carefully, because Marcus's suspicion was growing. That night, after Marcus fell asleep, I contacted Detective Sarah Chun, who Emily had found online. She specialized in domestic violence cases and had agreed to look at evidence if we could provide it. I sent her an encrypted email with a summary of what I'd found: financial crimes, evidence of abuse, documentation of Marcus's affairs. I asked if it was enough to move forward. Her response came quickly. "This is good, but I need more for the financial crimes. Can you get me specific account numbers, transaction details? And we'll need your sister's testimony. Is she ready?" I replied, "I'll get the details. Give me a few more days." The next morning, Marcus left early for court. As soon as he was gone, I went straight to his office. I needed those account numbers, those transaction details. I was so focused on the computer that I didn't hear the front door open. Didn't hear footsteps on the stairs. Didn't know Marcus had returned until he was standing in the doorway, staring at me. "What are you doing?" My heart stopped. "I asked you a question, Emily," Marcus said, his voice quiet but dangerous. "What are you doing in my office?" I forced myself to stay calm. I was sitting at his desk with his computer open, logged into his files. There was no innocent explanation. "I was looking for something," I said, making my voice small and frightened the way Emily would. "Looking for what?" He stepped into the room, closing the door behind him with a soft click. "Money," I said. "I wanted to buy you something for your birthday. Something special. But my allowance isn't enough." His birthday was in 3 weeks. Emily had mentioned it. It was plausible. Marcus studied me for a long moment. "You broke into my office, accessed my private computer to steal money for a birthday present." "I wasn't stealing," I said. "I was going to pay it back from the grocery money, a little at a time. I just wanted to get you something nice." It was sickening saying these words, but I needed Marcus to believe me. He walked around the desk slowly. "Stand up." I stood, my legs shaking. "That wasn't an act." "You've been different lately," Marcus said. "Distracted, secretive, and now I find you in my office. You can understand why I'm having trouble believing you." "I'm sorry," I said. "I should have asked. I shouldn't have come in here." "That's right. This is my space. My office, my computer, my house. Everything here is mine, including you." He grabbed my chin, forcing me to look at him. His grip was tight enough to hurt. "Do you understand?" "Yes," I whispered. He stared at me another long moment, then released me. "Get out." "And Emily? Don't ever come in this office again. If I find out you've been in here, there will be consequences." "Clear?" I said, and fled. That had been too close. Marcus was suspicious now, actively watching for signs that something was wrong. I needed to move faster because my window was closing, but I also needed those bank account numbers. I couldn't access the office safely anymore, so I tried a different approach. I called the bank using the number from the statements I'd photographed. "Donovan and Associates," I said when the representative answered. "I need to verify some transaction details." "I'll need to verify your identity first." "What's the account number?" I rattled off the number from the statements. "And your name?" "Emily Donovan. I'm calling on behalf of my husband, Marcus Donovan." There was typing on the other end. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Donovan, but I don't show you as an authorized user on this account. I can't give out information without speaking to Mr. Donovan directly." I'd expected that, but it was worth trying. That evening, Marcus came home in a foul mood. He barely spoke during dinner, just ate in angry silence. After dinner, he went to his office and I heard him on the phone, his voice raised but not loud enough to make out words. Something had happened at work. Something that had made him angrier than usual. I went upstairs to change, and that's when I noticed it. The journal I'd found hidden between the mattresses, it was gone. I checked carefully, thinking maybe I put it back wrong, but no, It was definitely gone. Marcus had found it. He'd read Emily's documentation of his abuse, her plans to escape, everything. And he knew. I heard his footsteps on the stairs. Heavy, purposeful. I turned around just as he appeared in the bedroom doorway. "I found something interesting today," Marcus said, holding up the journal. "Want to explain this?" There was no point in lying anymore. Marcus knew about the journal. He'd probably been testing me all evening, watching for my reaction. "That's Emily's," I said quietly. "Documentation of what you've done to her." Marcus's eyes narrowed. "Emily's? That's a strange way to refer to yourself." This was it. The moment I'd been dreading and preparing for. "I'm not Emily," I said, straightening my shoulders. "I'm Rachel, her twin sister. We switched places 3 weeks ago." For a moment, Marcus just stared at me. Then understanding dawned on his face, followed by absolute fury. "You've been pretending to be my wife? You've been in my house, going through my things for 3 weeks?" "That's right," I said. "And I got everything I needed. Every document, every photo, every piece of evidence of what you've done. Detective Chun has it all. Your abuse, your affairs, your criminal activities. You're finished, Marcus." He moved faster than I expected. His hand wrapped around my throat, slamming me against the wall. "You think you're clever?" he hissed. "You think you can destroy me?" I clawed at his hand, unable to breathe, black spots dancing at the edges of my vision. Then suddenly, he released me. I collapsed, gasping. "I could kill you right now," Marcus said conversationally. "Make it look like an accident. Grieving husband finds his wife's sister dead in his home. Tragic accident. They'd know," I managed to say. "They'd investigate. Maybe, but I'd have time to clean up, to destroy evidence, to get my story straight." He pulled out his phone. "Or I could just call the police right now. Report that someone's been impersonating my wife, breaking into my home, stealing my private documents. That's identity theft. Breaking and entering. You'd go to jail, not me." My stomach dropped. He was right. What I'd done was technically illegal, even if my reasons were good. But then I heard sirens in the distance. Getting closer. Marcus heard them too. He frowned and went to the window. His face went pale. "There are 4 police cars outside," he said. The pounding came on the front door. "Marcus Donovan, this is the police. We have a warrant for your arrest." Detective Chen hadn't waited. She'd taken the evidence straight to the district attorney and come immediately. Marcus looked at me, and I saw something like grudging respect mixed with the hatred. "You really did it." "I told you I would," I said. The front door burst open. Police officers flooded in, Detective Chun leading them. They found us in the bedroom, me on the floor with marks on my neck, Marcus standing over me. "Marcus Donovan, you're under arrest," Detective Chun said. "Charges include bribery, fraud, assault, and domestic violence." 2 officers grabbed Marcus, pulling his arms behind his back. He didn't resist. He just stared at me as they read him his rights. "This isn't over," he said. "My lawyers will tear you apart." "Maybe," I said, letting Detective Chun help me up. "But Emily will be free. That's all that matters." They led Marcus away. I watched through the window as they put him in the back of a police car and drove away with him inside. God, it was over. Finally over. Detective Chun took me to the station for a statement. I spent 3 hours telling them everything. Every piece of evidence I'd collected, every conversation, every detail. When I was finally finished, Emily was waiting outside. My sister looked better than she had 3 weeks ago. The bruises had faded. There was color in her face again. And when she saw me, she ran over and hugged me tight. "You did it," she whispered. "You really did it." "We did it," I said. "Together." The next few days were a blur. Lawyers, police interviews, media attention. The story had gotten out. The respected attorney, the hidden abuse, the twin sister who'd swapped places to gather evidence. Our attorney, Monica West, was exactly who we needed. Sharp, experienced, known for taking down abusers who thought they were untouchable. Marcus's lawyers are trying to get the evidence thrown out, she explained when we met in her office. They're claiming everything was obtained illegally. Will that work? Emily asked nervously. No, Monica said firmly. First, you had every right to give your sister access to your home. You're married to Marcus. Your name is on the deed. You authorized Rachel to be there. Second, Marcus's abuse is well documented independent of anything Rachel found. The journal, the medical records, the photographs, that evidence exists regardless. She pulled out a folder. The financial crimes are even stronger than we thought. When police searched Marcus's office with a warrant, they found additional evidence. A safe full of cash, more incriminating documents, another burner phone. Marcus is looking at multiple felony charges. We're talking years in prison. Over the next week, more details emerged. The district attorney held a press conference announcing the charges. 3 counts of bribery, 7 counts of fraud, multiple counts of assault spanning 5 years, and other victims came forward. Women Marcus had dated before Emily, all telling similar stories of control and violence. The pattern was undeniable. Marcus's business dealings were worse than I'd suspected. He'd been bribing judges, falsifying documents, laundering money through his law practice. One case he'd manipulated had nearly sent an innocent person to prison. He's a monster, Emily said one night as we watched the news coverage. I knew he was abusive, but I didn't know about the rest. All those people he hurt. You couldn't have known, I said. He hid it from everyone. The preliminary hearing was 2 weeks after Marcus's arrest. Emily and I sat in the courtroom as Marcus was led in wearing an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed. He looked smaller somehow, diminished. His lawyers argued the evidence was tainted, the charges circumstantial, the witnesses unreliable. But Judge Patricia Martinez wasn't buying it. Mr. Donovan, the judge said, the evidence against you is substantial. The charges will proceed to trial. Bail is denied. Marcus's face went white. Your Honor, I'm not a flight risk. I have a practice to run. You have multiple serious charges against you, Judge Martinez interrupted, including evidence that you've bribed officials, which means you have connections that could help you flee. Bail is denied. They led Marcus out. The trial was set for 3 months later. Those 3 months were hard but necessary. Emily worked with Dr. Helen Price, a therapist specializing in domestic violence survivors, processing years of trauma. He chose to hurt you, Dr. Price explained in one session. Nothing you did caused his violence. This was about his need for control, not about you. Emily cried a lot during those months. But she also started to heal. She reconnected with old friends. She applied for jobs again. She started reclaiming parts of herself she'd lost. I went back to my marketing job, but I checked in with Emily every day. We were closer now than we'd ever been. The trial finally began in late summer. The courtroom was packed. Emily and I sat behind the prosecutor's table, Monica beside us. Marcus's defense team was expensive and aggressive. They attacked every witness, questioned every piece of evidence, tried to paint Marcus as a successful attorney targeted by a vindictive ex-wife. But the evidence was overwhelming. Monica presented photographs of Emily's injuries, the journal entries, medical records, testimony from doctors who treated her. Then came the financial crimes emails discussing bribes, bank statements, testimony from officials Marcus had paid off who agreed to testify in exchange for reduced sentences. Mr. Donovan approached me 2 years ago, one official testified. He said he needed a case dismissed and was willing to pay for it. I was going through a divorce. Money was tight. I made a terrible mistake. How many times did Marcus Donovan pay you? Monica asked. At least 10 times over 2 years. Sometimes for his own cases, sometimes for other attorneys who paid him. Then came testimony from Marcus's other victims. 3 women, all telling similar stories of charm that turned to control. Then violence stopped by the time it was Emily's turn to testify. The jury had heard from multiple victims and seen mountains of evidence. Emily walked to the witness stand with her head high. She wore a blue dress, simple and professional. She didn't look at Marcus as she was sworn in. Monica started with basic questions, then moved into the abuse. When did Marcus first hit you? Monica asked. About 2 years into our marriage, Emily said steadily. I'd forgotten to pick up his dry cleaning. He slapped me, then immediately apologized. Said it would never happen again. But it did. Why didn't you leave earlier? He'd taken everything from me. My job, my friends, my money. He tracked my every movement. He told me no one would believe me. And I believed him. What finally made you leave? He beat me so badly, I thought he might kill me. I realized if I stayed, I would die. So I went to my sister. The defense attorney tried to shake Emily's testimony during cross-examination, suggesting she was exaggerating. But Emily didn't waver. She answered every question calmly, honestly. I testified next, explaining the sister swap, what I'd found, how I'd documented everything. The defense attacked me too, but I stood firm. What gave you the right to take this into your own hands? The defense attorney asked. The right to protect my sister, I said. If you'd seen Emily that night, covered in bruises, terrified for her life, you'd understand why I did what I did. The trial lasted 2 weeks. Then it went to the jury. They deliberated for 2 days. 2 long days of waiting, hoping, praying. On the second day, they reached a verdict. We filed back into the courtroom. The judge asked the jury foreman to stand. On the charge of bribery in the first degree, how do you find? Guilty. On the charge of fraud? Guilty. On the charge of assault? Guilty. Guilty on every charge. Every single one. Emily grabbed my hand and squeezed. I looked at Marcus. His blank expression had cracked. He looked shocked. Judge Martinez had set sentencing for 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, we returned for sentencing. Judge Martinez looked at Marcus with no sympathy. Mr. Donovan, you have been found guilty of multiple serious crimes, she said. You abused your position of power and trust. You hurt people physically, emotionally, and financially. You showed no remorse. She paused. I'm sentencing you to 22 years in prison. With the terms of your sentence, you'll be eligible for parole in 15 years, but only if you show genuine rehabilitation. 22 years. Marcus would be 58 when he got out. His life, his reputation, his freedom all gone. Emily exhaled beside me. It was finally truly over. The weeks that followed were strange. The media attention faded. The legal proceedings ended. Life slowly returned to normal, or a new version of normal. Emily started therapy regularly, working through trauma that occasionally resurfaced. She had bad days still, moments when old fears crept in. But the good days far outnumbered the bad ones now. She got a job at an advertising agency. She reconnected with friends. She moved into her own apartment, decorating it with bright colors and plants, filling it with life. 6 months after Marcus's sentencing, Emily told me she'd been on a date. His name is David, she said. He's a graphic designer at my company. We went to dinner, and Rachel. I had fun. I didn't spend the whole time worried about saying the wrong thing. I just enjoyed myself. That's wonderful, I said. I'm taking it slow, Emily said. But for the first time in years, I feel like myself again. Like the person I was before Marcus. A year after the sentencing, Emily's life had transformed. She was promoted at work. Her relationship with David had gotten serious. He was kind, patient, understanding. He treated her with respect. "He's nothing like Marcus," Emily told me. "David actually listens. He asks my opinion. He doesn't try to control me. That's how relationships should be," I said. "Equal, respectful." "I know that now," Emily said. "I didn't before." We also heard about Marcus's former victims. One had started a support organization for domestic violence survivors, crediting our case with giving her courage to speak out. If Emily and Rachel could take down someone like Marcus Donovan, then other survivors can find justice too, she said in an interview. That made everything we've been through worthwhile. Not just because Marcus was in prison, but because our story had helped others. 2 years after Marcus's sentencing, Emily and David got engaged. The proposal was simple. David took her to the park where they'd had their first date and asked her to marry him. Emily said yes without hesitation. "Are you sure?" I asked later. "I'm sure," Emily said. "David is nothing like Marcus. He makes me happy. And I'm not the same person I was when I married Marcus. I'm stronger now. I know what I deserve." The wedding was planned for the following spring. Small and intimate, just close friends and family. Everything Marcus's wedding hadn't been. Meanwhile, Marcus remained in prison. We heard occasional updates. He'd lost privileges for bad behavior, filed appeals that were all rejected. His perfect image was gone forever. "Do you ever think about him?" I asked Emily one day as we planned her wedding. "Sometimes," Emily admitted, "but not the way I used to. I don't miss him. I don't feel guilty. I just think about how different my life could have been if I'd stayed. How close I came to never getting out." "But you did get out," I said. "You're free. You're happy. Marcus lost everything, and you gained everything. That's justice." "Yes," Emily said, smiling. "That's justice." Spring arrived with clear skies and warm sunshine. Emily stood in front of the mirror in her wedding dress, simple, elegant, beautiful. She looked confident and happy and whole. "Ready?" I asked, adjusting her bouquet of white roses. "More than ready," Emily said. "This feels right, Rachel. Everything about this feels right." The ceremony was in a small garden venue. About 40 people attended, everyone who mattered, everyone who'd supported Emily through her recovery. I walked down the aisle first as maid of honor. Then came Emily, walking alone because she'd insisted she didn't need anyone to give her away. She was choosing this freely, not because someone was handing her over. David stood at the altar watching Emily approach, and the love on his face was unmistakable. This was what a healthy relationship looked like. Mutual respect, genuine affection, equal partnership. When they kissed, everyone applauded. Emily and David walked back down the aisle hand in hand, both grinning. At the reception, I gave a toast. "My sister faced unimaginable challenges," I said, raising my glass. "But she never let them defeat her. She fought back, she healed, and she chose to love again. That takes courage. Emily, you inspire me every day. And David, thank you for seeing how special she is." To the happy couple, everyone drank and cheered. Emily wiped happy tears from her eyes. Later, as the party wound down, Emily and I found a quiet moment together. "Thank you," she said, "for everything, for believing me, for coming up with that crazy plan, for risking yourself to help me. I wouldn't be here without you." "You'd have found another way," I said. "You're stronger than you think." "Maybe," Emily said, "but having you with me made all the difference." We hugged, both crying a little. 2 years ago, we'd been fighting for Emily's life and freedom. Now we were celebrating her new beginning. The journey had been hard, but we'd made it through together. As I watched Emily dance with David, Surrounded by people who loved her, I reflected on everything we'd learned. About courage, that sometimes it means doing terrifying things to protect the people you love. About justice, that it's not always swift, but it can prevail when victims find the strength to fight back. About healing, that it's possible to rebuild after trauma, to reclaim yourself piece by piece. And about the bond between sisters, that it's stronger than fear, stronger than shame, strong enough to face down a monster and win. Marcus had tried to destroy Emily. Instead, we destroyed him. And from the ashes of that terrible marriage, Emily had rebuilt herself into someone stronger, wiser, happier than she'd ever been. That was the real victory. Not Marcus's prison sentence, though that mattered. Not the justice system working, though that was important. The real victory was Emily's transformation from victim to survivor to someone living a full, joyful life. Marcus had taken 5 years from her, but the rest of her life was hers now. And she was going to make it beautiful as the sun set that evening, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. I watched my sister laugh with her husband, dance with her friends, live the life she'd fought so hard to claim. This was justice. The kind where the victim not only survives but builds a life so full of love and joy that the abuser becomes nothing but a distant memory. Marcus had lost everything, trying to control Emily, and Emily had gained everything by finding the courage to break free. The moral: true strength isn't measured by how much control you can exert over others, but by how much courage you have to protect the people you love and how much resilience you possess to rebuild after someone tries to break you. Justice may be delayed, but when victims find their voice and their advocates stand beside them, even the most powerful abusers can fall. And sometimes, the greatest revenge is simply living well, loving freely, and refusing to let trauma define your future.